Shanna here. Welcome to my channel all about finding joy while living with autoimmune disease. I am so glad to have you here, and I'm so excited to talk to you today about cruising on the autoimmune protocol AIP. I can't even believe it. I just got back a couple days ago from a Caribbean cruise, 7 nights, and I ate according to the autoimmune protocol AIP the entire time, elimination phase. I am so excited to tell you how I did it. So let's go ahead and dive in. So first of all, we cruised through Royal Caribbean. We paid for our cruise. This is not sponsored. They didn't compensate me anything. I was a customer, and I'm just super excited with my experience, and I wanted to go ahead and share it because I know a lot of you out there eat according to the autoimmune protocol AIP, and it's really hard to travel and to know who you can trust and if they can understand cross-contamination and the ins and outs of the AIP, and it can be just really overwhelming. And I know this because I've traveled so many times on the AIP. So a few months ago, my husband has been wanting to do a Caribbean cruise for years now. I have too, but I've been struggling with health problems. We did a couple cruises years and years ago, and we wanted to get back there, but I wasn't sure if I'd be able to. And so he was celebrating his 40th birthday in July, and so as a surprise, I booked a Caribbean cruise for him, for us, just the two of us. Our kids stayed home. Even though I knew I wanted to go ahead and try this, I had never heard of anybody cruising on the AIP successfully, and so I was really, really nervous. I had all kinds of fears, like, am I gonna starve the whole week? Like, are they gonna understand cross-contamination, and that if I get a little bit of something I shouldn't, I will be knocked out, and then we will have spent all this money, and then I'll be sick the whole time. I just had a lot of fears, even up until like the day I got on the cruise ship. I still had a lot of fears. So let me go ahead and tell you how I handled communicating with Royal Caribbean and how they handled AIP for me. So I called and I booked our cruise during a sale directly through Royal Caribbean, and I told them my major food allergies, my major food intolerances. I didn't say AIP, but I kept it like broad and simple, like no gluten, no dairy, no soy, no sugar. No, I got into like some of the oils, and nothing gave them pause until I started talking about like some of the oils. Like I can only have like olive oil, avocado oil, coconut oil, and they're like, ooh, they're like, we know we can do the gluten-free and the dairy-free and the soy-free and the nut-free and the nightshade-free, like we can do that. But they said that over the phone they can't guarantee the oils, so they couldn't guarantee that what oils the chefs use and if they could accommodate me. So I was kind of like, it did give me pause, and I was like, but deep down I thought, okay, I can work this out, like it's gonna be okay. So at the time of booking, I recommend, if you book a cruise, again, I've only cruised this way once. It was last week through Royal Caribbean, so I cannot speak about other cruise lines, but when I booked ours, I was very clear at the time of booking, these are my food allergies. That way they marked our account. At the time of booking, make sure that they note your account, that they flag your account with all of the major no's, like no gluten, no dairy, no soy, no nightshades, no nuts, no seeds, no sugar, no hydrogenated oils, no, just all of the major things. No alcohol, no coffee, those type of things. If you're on the elimination phase. If you have some re-intros, that will obviously be easier. I did this on the elimination phase, so even though I do have a few re-intros, anytime I travel, I do travel on the elimination phase because I tend to be very adventurous when I travel. I tend to kind of push the limits as far as like activity levels and the things that I'm doing, and I feel best when I still feel best, even though I've been on the AIP a year and a half, I still feel best when I eat on the elimination phase, especially when traveling. Also, so our cruise was on the Freedom of the Seas out of San Juan, Puerto Rico, 7-night Southern Caribbean cruise, and so we had over 12 hours of traveling, of 2 different flights and traveling to get to Puerto Rico before we even got on the cruise ship. Well, there's like sick people on planes. We took taxis. We were on airport, shuttles. There's like people coughing everywhere, especially this time of year. And so I just wanted to boost my immune system and help me feel how I feel best. Okay, so I tend to be a little bit of a worrier at times when it comes to AIP and my food. I do not eat out a lot. I cook most of my food. I pack it when I travel. I pack it when I'm on the go. And so to have no to feel like I had no control over a 7-night cruise, I was pretty worried. And so the other thing I did in the months leading up to our cruise is I went on Royal Caribbean's website and I found an email address and I emailed them because I thought if I can just get it in writing, these are, just make sure on my reservation, these are the foods I can't eat. If I can just make sure, then that would make me feel better. And so I found an email address and I emailed them and I said, I booked a cruise. I just want to make sure, like, I have an autoimmune disease. I'm very sensitive to my food intolerances, my food allergies. Can you just make sure that my account is flagged? And, I'm so used to trying to eat out and having waitresses and managers and chefs be like, oh, like, I don't know. I kind of always feel like an inconvenience when I eat out. And so I was shocked when I got the nicest email back from someone at Royal Caribbean saying, oh yeah, no problem, we're gonna take care of you. And they took it a step further too. They're like, we understand what you can't eat, but we really wanna know what are your favorite foods that you can eat. We don't want you to just not get sick on the cruise. We want you to enjoy the food. We want you to enjoy your experiences. And so what can you tell us? What are your favorite foods? I was like, yeah. So I emailed her back and I said, these are my favorite meats, these are my favorite seafoods, these are my favorite vegetables, these are my favorite fruits and fats. And it was just a really great experience. And even in her email, she said, so on the first day of your cruise, after you check in, speak with the chef and they're gonna take care of you. They're gonna take care of you. And I was like, okay. But even up until leaving, I was so nervous about it because of obvious reasons. Okay, so I mentioned my food issues at the time of booking. I followed up with email, wrote them all down, and I still was nervous. And so what I did was I typed up a sheet of paper I could take with me to give to the chef on the first day of the cruise, just to make sure he had all of the information. And again, it may sound like I'm taking this overboard, but again, I'm very sensitive to how I eat, and we were spending a lot of money on this cruise. I just wanted to make sure I enjoyed it, that my husband enjoyed it, that I wasn't, sick the whole time or any part of the time. And so I printed off, again, information, and then I also made an allergy card that said, these are the food allergies. It had a note about cross-contamination, and it also had a simple meal idea on the back. And so actually I have that for you for free if you'd like to download it, and you could take it to restaurants when you eat out, you can take it when you travel, you can take it if you go on a cruise, whatever. And so I will link that below and you can download that for free, it's yours. So I took those with me. On the day of our cruise, we checked in, and even on the way to the cruise, I was, I didn't know how to I really didn't know how to find the chef, how to be able to talk to him. And so I was telling my husband, I'm like, okay, don't let me forget. When we check in, I have to ask how I can speak with the chef. We got to the port, we gave them our names at check-in, and before I can say anything else, they pulled up our names and they're like, okay, hold on a minute, please. And my husband and I were like, what? Like, we paid, like, what's going on? We don't understand. And then after a few minutes, one of the Royal Caribbean personnel came and introduced himself to us and personally escorted us onto the ship and passed us off to somebody else who was also super friendly. And they took us to meet with the head of restaurant operations on the ship. His name was Mustafa, amazing man. And he took us into the dining room, our own private table overlooking San Juan, beautiful, and sat down with us, brought in the head chef on the ship, and brought in an executive sous chef to meet with us. And they sat and they explained to us how their ship handles food allergies. They knew all about cross-contamination. They addressed all of my fears. They explained how they were going to take care of me. It was seriously, my husband and I were blown away. I had no need to worry. And again, I don't know how it is on other ships. All I can say is, on other cruise lines, all I can say is this is how it was on Royal Caribbean. And then they explained to me how they have a designated area in the galley, in the kitchens, where they handle all of the food allergies. They explained how they handle cross-contamination again. And then for food allergies in situations like mine, food intolerances, they actually have an executive sous chef assigned to that person for the week. So only one executive sous chef cooks for that person for the entire week. That way there's no mix up, there's no confusion, that person is taken care of. And so I met with him right away, and I was just like blown away. Like, he had to understand, he knew what nightshades were. Whenever I go somewhere and I'm like, no nightshades, I usually have to explain it. He's like, okay, yeah, well, no nightshades, no. Like, he had a clear understanding. He already knew what I needed. I still gave him the printouts I brought, but I don't think I needed to in this situation. But so how it worked is he would meet with me every day, and we would talk about what time I wanted to eat my meals and what I wanted. So I could order anything I wanted. And when I met with him on that first day, I was like, well, can I get this or can I get that? And his words were, nothing is impossible. I was like, oh, like, seriously, music to my ears. And so I ordered all kinds of different food, all different kinds of meats and seafoods and vegetables and fruits. And they were asking me, what do you want for a dessert? And I was like, I would honestly just like love some fruit. And so they kept me fully stocked in fruit the entire time. They had these beautiful fruit baskets sent to our room. I celebrated my birthday while on the cruise. I turned 38. It was kind of funny because we bought the cruise to celebrate my husband's 40th birthday, but we ended up going my birthday week. So I was celebrating my 38th birthday, and Royal Caribbean full on decorates your whole room for you if it's your birthday while you're on the cruise. They know because of the paperwork, you know, so I was like surprised at that. And then at dinner, after dinner, they full on made me, so usually, okay, so they have like amazing, well, desserts, like not AIP, just like amazing desserts, you know. And so I was kind of thinking, oh, well, I'm just gonna have some fruit like I have been for a dessert. They full on made me a birthday cake out of fruit. It is amazing. I have pictures on my, so I wrote a whole blog post about this with all of the details. So my blog post has even more details if you want to know exactly like the ins and outs of how our cruise went, what we did at the ports and that type of stuff. And it has a picture of all of my food. Well, not all, I don't think I took pictures of everything I ate because it was like 3 meals a day times 7 days, 21 meals. So I didn't take pictures of everything, but I took pictures. I took a lot of pictures of the food. So you can see pictures of that in the blog post. I will link it below. It's called How to Cruise on the AIP. And so I will link that. And then you could also see a picture of this birthday cake they made me because it was insane. It was like full on layers, and it had like watermelon was like the round layers. It had blueberries, raspberries, strawberries, and the strawberries were like carved into flowers. Oh my gosh, it was beautiful. There's kiwi in it. And then so there was this big birthday cake in the middle of the plate, and then on the rim of the plate they had cut out in letters happy birthday out of cantaloupe. It was amazing. So anyway, they definitely take care of you on your birthday too. And that is, if you want to see a picture of that, that's in my blog post too. The only complaint I have is that I ate too much food the first few days. Like, I was so excited about all the food that I did not have to cook, that I did not have to do dishes for, that tasted amazing, and that there was a ton of, and I ate too much for the first few days. And so I was just like really, really full and stuff. So after a few days, I kind of like paced myself. But anyways, they were amazing. I can't say enough about it. Again, I'm not getting paid to share this. I'm sharing it because all my AIP sisters out there, autoimmune sisters, food allergies, food intolerances, you can know you'll be taken care of on Royal Caribbean. And again, just like I spoke with the head chef and I asked like a number of questions, and he said that the biggest thing that they need is they need to know beforehand what the food allergies are. That way they can plan and prepare to have you on board. So as crazy as all of my planning may have seemed as far as emailing them and calling them, that really enabled them to understand what I needed on the cruise ship. And never once did they make me feel like uncomfortable or like I was high maintenance or like it was too much. They truly seemed happy to help and to give me this amazing experience. And I was in tears at the end afterwards when I know I had this amazing cruise experience, seen all of these amazing islands with my husband, felt amazing almost the entire time. And I say almost the entire time because I did get seasick at the beginning of the cruise, which I've never gotten seasick, and they had an acupuncturist on board in the spa on the ship, and so I went and got acupuncture on the first day, and then I was fine. But I felt amazing as far as all of the food goes, and towards the end, I was just like, I know I had this amazing week, and I was just telling the head chef, you know, and the head of restaurant operations and the head chef, they'd come check on me, make sure everything was going okay, see if I needed anything. I would see my head sous chef 3 times a day because he would prepare my food and literally bring me my food so that there was no chance for it to get compromised or anything to happen to it, because he prepared it in the designated area and then brought it to me. It was, I cannot believe how well it worked. But at the end, I was just thanking them and telling them, like, I haven't had a vacation, I haven't had a week-long vacation since I got sick where I haven't had to cook and I haven't had to do dishes. And I just told them, this has been a dream, thank you. On one of the last days of our cruise, we were invited to go on a private tour of the galley of the kitchen area with our executive sous chef, and he just, you know, explained everything to us, and I was so impressed with how organized they are, how they handle the different food intolerances and food allergies, how they handle quality control. I was just nothing but impressed. And so again, I will just say, communicate with the cruise line. Make sure they understand what your needs are. Make sure that you give them paperwork if you feel like you need to. Also, I don't think I mentioned this, I did not pay anything extra for because of my food allergies or intolerances. Okay, so let's talk AIP lifestyle on a cruise for a minute. So as far as like sleep, there's a lot to do on a cruise ship. Our cruise ship was amazing. There's an ice skating rink, rock climbing wall, flow rider, which is like the wave thing where you surf, our boogie board. There was like theater productions every night. There were musical things. There's an indoor mall. There was gambling. There was bars. I don't drink. I don't gamble. And my husband and I's focus on this cruise was each other and spending time on the islands and just taking a break from life. And so we knew we wanted to spend a lot of our energy on the islands at port and just soaking it all in and resting. And so we did not do a lot on the cruise ship. We did not go ice skating or rock climbing or to any of the theater productions. It just wasn't our thing this time. Maybe it will be our thing in the future. But if that is your thing, there's a lot to do on a cruise ship. Each one has like different venues, but those are some of the things that ours had. So as far as on the islands, we planned some private excursions prior to our trip. So we knew that we didn't want me eating out on the islands because it would just add stress, me trying to, you know, find somewhere I could eat, me trying to communicate my needs, me not knowing if it was a cruise ship where there was a food issue or an island. And I wanted to just eat on the ship so that I knew if the cruise line could take care of me. And I didn't want there to be, if I did start feeling unwell, I didn't want to like think, well, was it the cruise or was it the island? And so how we did it was we would, even at port, we would get back on the ship just for lunch. So we would plan like a morning excursion, and then we'd get off the boat pretty early, like around 8:30. And then we'd go do something on the island, and then we'd come back after that excursion, after that tour, have lunch, and then we'd go back out and like take a taxi to a beach. So like on Aruba, in the morning, we did this amazing UTV tour, Rock Beach tours. They were amazing. I just found them through like TripAdvisor, I think, but they were amazing, and they offer all kinds of tours. We did a UTV tour. It was very bumpy. We got filthy. From all of the dirt from off-roading. You go really fast, you get to drive yourself, it's really fun, and you make stops at some of the most amazing places like Natural Bridge, natural pools. You can go cliff jumping into the natural pool, it's amazing. I shared it on my Instagram stories. You go swimming in a natural pool if you want to. We did that. There's like jumping into this other think it's called like 3 Steps Beach. Beautiful swimming, beautiful beach. You go to a lighthouse. It was amazing. One of my most favorite excursions that we've ever done. So like in Aruba, we went off, so we'd eat breakfast on the ship, go do the excursion, come back for lunch, and then in the afternoon in Aruba, we took a taxi to Eagle Beach. Oh my gosh, you guys, one of the most amazing beaches for walking on the beach. Just beautiful. Like I didn't even hardly get in the water that much. I just walked up and down that beach. It was incredible. And then we walked from there to Palm Beach, which is another famous beach on Aruba. It's where all of the resorts are. It's just up from Eagle Beach, and it was a much longer walk than we thought. So I looked at the health app on my phone that night, and we had walked 6.5 miles. Whoops. But it was just beautiful scenery, gorgeous. So that's what we did on Aruba. On Curacao, we did a morning paddleboarding tour, and it was through mangroves. So beautiful, in like a beautiful bay with mangroves. We saw big iguanas and birds. Part of it was very like calming and relaxing, and we got to like jump in the bay if we wanted to and swim around, which I did. And then I got back on my paddleboard, and later someone's like, oh, there's a barracuda. Like, glad I didn't know that when I was in the water. But I will say on the paddleboarding tour, it did get pretty intense. So it was a couple hours long, and at least an hour of that we were like paddling in the wind, and if you stopped paddling you'd get blown. And so I was not expecting it was that kind of a tour, and so my biceps were on fire. I've shared about how I struggle with exercise intolerance, and if you don't know what that is, or if you haven't heard me share about that, I will link it below. And I've come a long ways as far as my exercise intolerance issues. I'm doing a lot better, but I still have a ways to go. Walking and yoga and Pilates feel best on my body. I still don't weight train because it triggers a flare. But anyway, so the paddle boarding for like so long, for hours in the wind, my biceps were like on fire, and I looked at my husband, I'm like, and sure enough, that night I got the symptoms I get when I get exercise intolerance, like horrible fatigue, and it's kind of like hard to explain, but so I did get that. I did trigger that evening, but I slept it off. Like I was only unwell for a couple hours. I went to bed and then I was fine. But that afternoon so anyway, so heads up on the paddleboarding tours. If you struggle with exercise intolerance, I would not recommend them. Unless you know it's like on your own chill paddleboarding, then it's like really fun. But after paddleboarding, we got back on the boat for lunch, and then we went to Mambo Beach in Curacao, which was a pretty crowded beach when we first got there, but it does empty out later in the afternoon, and it's just beautiful. It's just beautiful. It's a very calm swimming beach. I don't know if that makes sense, but like we just hung out in the water a lot. We took a nap on the beach, and it was just beautiful. Then in Bonaire, the island of Bonaire, if you have not been there, if you love to snorkel and dive, you have to go. It is beautiful. Some of the best snorkeling we've ever done. We did a catamaran tour in the morning, Woodwinds. I just found them again online, and I booked it through them, and it was just, they were outfitted with the best snorkel stuff I've ever seen a tour outfitted with. They had goggles with like prescription lenses. They had the best snorkels. We had no issues with any of the equipment because we didn't bring our snorkel gear this time because it's broken. We need to buy a new one, and we didn't want to. But anyways, it was the best snorkeling, amazing. We did that, and they actually served a lunch on the catamaran on the way back from snorkeling. But so my husband ate that, and then I waited. We went back on the cruise ship, and then we took a taxi across the island to a beach. I'm probably butchering the name of this beach, but I think it's called Sorobon. I don't know, but it was beautiful. Well, the beach itself was pretty crowded with like beach chairs and people, but you can walk out into the water on this beach like a mile or something, and it's like shallow, and it's like up to your waist at the deepest, and it's like the warmest water and crystal clear and so beautiful. And if you like windsurfing, that's a great spot for that. But my husband and I just hung out in the water for hours. It was incredible. And then on Saint Maarten, we did take a speedboat tour around the island, and it was amazing. It was beautiful. I share more about that in my blog post too, if you want to read about that. And then we had a couple of days at sea, and on the at sea days, we basically just hung out on our balcony. We did go in one of the pools. They have like multiple pools and hot tubs. I never went in the hot tubs. They had multiple pools. I kind of went in that one day for just a little bit. But yeah, it was just incredible experience. So beautiful. And you can do it AIP. So anyway, I just share about our island experience so you know why we kind of spent a lot of our energy on the islands versus doing a lot on the cruise ship. And we did not stay up very late. We went to bed at a decent time because sleep really affects how I feel. And so I prioritize sleep even on vacation. So I brought my husband is so understanding, and I think he kind of chuckles at me, but I bring my silk sleep eye mask, I bring my noise machine, and that really is great to have on a cruise because there are people who do stay up late and who do drink and who get a little rowdy, and if they're coming back to their rooms in the middle of the night, some people stay up till 3 or 4 in the morning on a cruise ship, so if they do come back in the middle of the night and they're in your hallway, I couldn't hear anything because of the noise machine. So I do highly recommend bringing some kind of a noise machine or having an app on your phone. I don't know if that would work with the internet situation on a ship though. And then I brought my own pillow too. I have my pillow, my memory foam pillow, and I sleep best with it. And so I take care of myself, but I play hard, and I want to sleep so that I can enjoy the islands and enjoy vacation. So just a heads up, something that may be hard for you. You'll most likely feel alone, as far as you'll most likely be the only one eating AIP on the ship of, like, I think there's over 4,000 people on our cruise ship, and I didn't see anybody eating the way I eat. A lot of people go on cruises to eat a lot of unhealthy food and to drink and to party it up, right? Well, in my mind, I partied it up. Like, I had fun. I had a blast. I loved it. But I'm used to eating this way. I find joy eating this way because I feel so well eating this way. I'm free from my emotional eating. I'm free from my, prior to AIP, I did have some food addictions. And so to me, I'm happy and enjoying this. But if you are new to AIP, I don't know that I would recommend a cruise yet, just because it can be hard to see everybody around you gorging themselves on unhealthy food and eating unhealthy desserts. And so just a heads up to be aware of that. And my husband, I think, this is a question I might get. He is not AIP, he does not eat AIP, but he did try to stick gluten-free this week, and they have a ton of gluten-free options on the ship, just like regular part of the menu gluten-free options, beautiful gluten-free desserts, he said were great. But yeah, so just a heads up that if you do cruise, it'd be hard if you were still struggling with emotional eating or with seeing people eat things that you can't eat. You can get through that, but be aware of that. Some things I recommend are things like meditation, things like your why, holding on to like why you eat this way, why you are trying to do what you can to take your health into your own hands to try to feel better. Is it with your kids? Is it a dream vacation? Is it whatever it is? So hold on, holding on to your why, emotional eating. There's a lot you can do for that. And then also always focusing on gratitude, like that I'm grateful that I can be on this cruise. I'm grateful that there's food I can eat. I'm grateful that I feel well. I'm grateful that, and focusing on what I can eat instead of what I can't. Okay, so maybe I can't eat that triple chocolate layer cake that this person's eating at the table right next to me, but look at what I can eat. This beautiful meal that's nourishing, that helps me feel my best. This beautiful tray of fruit that is so good. Focusing on what you can do. And maybe I couldn't stay out and go to, a theater production every night, or I couldn't ice skate after being, on the island all day. But you know what I could do? I could feel well enough to even be on this cruise. At my rock bottom, I couldn't handle the 1-hour drive to the airport, let alone traveling 12 hours to get on a cruise ship and be on a cruise ship for 7 days. No way I could have done this. So there's so much to be grateful for. Yeah, maybe I can't stay up late seeing all of the theater productions, but I can go enjoy, well, the island. I can snorkel and I can see these beautiful things. So again, just focusing on what we can do instead of what we can't is so powerful and so strong. And know that, and know if you do this, like, I am right there with you. I would be eating the same thing as you. I am cheering you on, and we can party, we can have fun, and we can do it on the AIP on a cruise. So anyways, I highly recommend Royal Caribbean. Again, I'm not paid by them. I just had this amazing experience. And communicate if you book a cruise. And if you want to download my free allergy card to help you, there's a link for that below. And again, I share pictures in my blog posts, beautiful pictures. There's some on my Instagram. I put a lot in my stories. I will add a highlight so that you can see, well, the ones I've shared so far. And I'll be sharing more this week too. I'm kind of sharing them gradually as I settle back in, because I was on a social media break the entire time I was on the cruise. So that's why I'm not filming this on the cruise. This was a vacation, and I totally unplugged, and it was really wonderful. So anyways, if you are not there yet, if you're not to a point yet where you can go on a cruise, I encourage you to keep working on it. Everything you do today can help you feel better. How you eat, how you live, how you manage stress, how you sleep. It takes time. It took me time to get here, and it is so worth it. And if it feels really, really, really hard to change, you're most likely doing it right. It felt really, 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 really hard for me to change and for me to learn how to eat to support my disease and to find a way to live well and to find joy, and mindset also helps. So one more heads up about taking a cruise. If you are sensitive to smells, just be aware that you do want to find out where the smoking areas are on the boat and just avoid them. I think there's only 2, and they're super easy to avoid. I only accidentally walked through one once or twice, and then I just was aware, okay, that is the smoking area. I'm going to avoid that. I am super sensitive to, I'm not as sensitive as I used to be, but I am still sensitive to like cigarette smoke, to fumes, to perfumes, to sprays, to different things. And so you will smell a lot of things, you know, as you walk around like a cruise ship, as you're doing different things. But I didn't have any big issues with smells. I would just avoid the smoking areas on the ship, which was super easy to do. And if there's like a perfume, you know, in the air, I would usually just, you know, walk away. Like it wasn't a huge deal, but I just wanted to throw that out there too in case you are sensitive too. Also, as far as before and after our cruise, like I mentioned, it was a 12-hour, over 12 hours of traveling between getting to the airport, a shuttle, the 2 flights, the layover, arriving, and taxi to the hotel. It was over 12 hours on the way there. It was like over 14, I think, on the way back, because we had longer layovers and longer time at the airport. So how did I handle what I ate before and after the cruise? On the way there, I packed a little cooler with like a little soft cooler in a backpack with a couple AIP meals for me that I pulled out of my freezer. I just had them in like the little glass Snapware. And I packed some fresh fruit, and I packed my little Hot Logic portable oven. And you could see pictures of this on my blog post as well. And so I ate breakfast before we left, and then I ate lunch. I heated up my lunch at the airport and ate that. And then my dinner, we were on a plane, and so I plugged my Hot Logic in. There's like outlets at the seats on the airplane. So I plugged my Hot Logic in on the airplane, and the plane smelled really good from my dinner. But so that's what I did. And then I packed fresh fruit. Heads up, airport security did stop us with they did not know what the oven was. They're like, what is this? Is like a laptop or something? We're like, no, it's just a little oven. So anyways, we got through security. It wasn't an issue. And we just told them it was food and it was for me. And then on the way, and then I packed a bunch of AIP snacks, which you can see in my blog post too. All the snacks I packed them because I didn't know if I was gonna be able to really eat on the cruise. So I packed a ton of snacks. I brought home a ton because I ate so well on the cruise. So on the last travel day home, I basically ate AIP snacks. I did bring those like Wild Zora freeze-dried meals that you just add water to. They have a couple of AIP varieties, so I did pack those. I didn't end up using them. So anyway, also a note, just to make sure, hydration, hydrate, because signs of dehydration can mimic signs of like if you're not feeling well or going into a flare. So just make sure. I stayed super hydrated. I bought bottled water. I didn't drink any of the water on the islands. I would bring bottled water with me, and I drank a lot of water. We were in the sun a lot too, which usually I don't really do very well in the sun previous years. And I've avoided it a lot this summer. I've stayed in the shade a lot this summer, but we were out doing things on the islands, and so I was in the sun a lot. I am in a nutritional therapy practitioner NTP program, and one of my instructors told us some tips for if you're going to be in the sun, some supplements that you can take in the weeks leading up to it, and to gradually increase your exposure to the sun. I followed all of those to a T, and it worked out really well for me. I did really well in the sun. I had 0 issues in the sun this trip. So it's like huge progress. And so I will try to share those at some point too. But this video has gotten way too long. So there you go, cruising on the AIP, cruising on the autoimmune protocol. That's how I did it. I would love to hear your experience. If you guys have any questions for me, let me know in the comments. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Let me know what you think. Subscribe. I come out with new videos every week. And I am sending you guys so much love and support, and I hope you guys have an awesome week.